I'm Brent Rumbo. I'm an assistant principal at Milby High School. Primary responsibilities are supporting and coaching high quality instruction. In addition to that, as any assistant principal or educational professional, we have a number of ancillary duties outside of that. We have around 2,100 students here at Milby that we support on a daily basis. So as of recently, we've seen a number of challenges here at Milby, and the majority of it is centered around social emotional stresses that children are having, or our students are having, both here at school and outside of school. We've had a couple of suicides this year, and then a couple of untimely deaths of our students that due to outside influences, some with lifestyle and some that were unavoidable as such. But either way, those opportunities, I'll call them opportunities, I guess, because although they were challenging situations, it gave us an opportunity, I think, to really look at some of those ancillary responsibilities, some of those supporting roles that were somewhat missing when we focus on solely high quality instruction. And so we know there's a number of those things that we need to fill some voids with. So some of the struggles that I believe our students are struggling with right now in the social emotional areas is one, having a voice. I believe that it's important for students to have somebody to talk to be able to tell their story, to be able to hear other stories and to reflect on those, to understand that the situations that they're going through, they're not alone, that they have other people that have worked through those same struggles, and just understanding how we can support that. So our students really need that encouraging type atmosphere in their life, and we don't just want them to be a recipient of that, but we want them to be leaders in that respect, so that they're able to encourage other students, that they're able to be helpful to other students, that they're able to be responsible, respectful, and so forth, and then lead that scope of work for the rest of the student body. When I was first exposed to Hero, it was almost by happenstance. We were invited to a symposium. We were actually going to use the time that our students spent there to recover some attendance hours, and didn't really at that point fully understand the total dynamics of the program. And then it was through the course of us attending the symposium, hearing feedback from our students, that we realized that this was probably the answer to some of those ancillary needs that I spoke of earlier, that our students were actually needing to be more productive in the classroom and in their lives, that this program could provide. And so then, since then, we've expanded our work with the Hero program and our collaboration from that point forward. I think just how our students reacted to it. So a lot of times, anytime that we're working with students and it's a program that's run by adults or primarily adult focused as far as the instruction piece of it, many times it works the same as a classroom. We have a certain number of students that'll just tune everything out, or a certain number of students that won't really receive the information. And I was just really surprised by the overwhelming response that our students had to the speakers, to their stories, that our students were able to reflect and connect with their own life decisions and things that are happening for them. And then we've actually seen some, on individual basis, some improvement by individual students in how they're interacting with their fellow peers, how they're interacting with their teachers, their response to being responsible for what they're held accountable for here at school. So just really been pleased overall. I think it's a move in the right direction. During that first symposium, I was actively watching the group, watching the students, looking at their reaction, and curious to see how they were going to receive the information. I think for me as an outside observer and just kind of watching the students interact with an array of different speakers, the turning point for me, or I think for our students rather, and when they really just turned their attention full force towards the speakers, was when they heard a couple of different speakers that I really felt like they connected with. One was a former graduate of Milby, when Miss Vicki was able to give her story and connect with them, and they saw somebody that sat in these same chairs at school, that walked these the same neighborhood that they're in, that lived near where they are, and really connect with the things that she went through and see her and now where she's at now. I think that gave them a sense of urgency or connection to her at that point. And the second time that I saw that happen at the symposium, as I spoke of earlier, we've had a couple of tragedies as of late, and one of our speakers was actually the mother of one of our students that had passed away. And I think when they were able to hear her story as it relates to a fellow student of theirs, I think that really hit home with those students and really drew them into the importance and their responsibility that they have in deterring acts like this, or encouraging their peers for a better community, a better school. Many times when teachers or adults speak to children, I think that it's in our natural nature that we don't want to lay everything out. We don't want to be completely transparent with the things that we've gone through. Sometimes it may be embarrassing. Sometimes it may not put us in a good light. And so one of the things that I saw from both Miss Vicki's presentation and from several of our presenters was, I think that it was a very transparent speech. And so when they were able to hear that and understand that these individuals in front of me, not only have they made mistakes in their life and overcome that, but they've also had influences in their life that may not have always been the best of influences. They've had words spoken to them that may have not been the most encouraging. And I think one of the things Vicki said was, it was how I reacted to that. It was how Vicki reacted to those unencouraging words. So we know that any time that we hear something of that nature, that can either be our motivator or that can be our downfall. We can let that be what our story is in the end. And I think when they heard Vicki say, when she had that conversation with her principal back when she was in high school, and there were some very unencouraging words there, some very what could be considered hurtful words. But Vicki was able to take that and say, I'm not going to let that be my story. I'm going to make sure that I overcome that. And it was a big turning point for her that she related to our students. And I think they could connect with that, whether they're hearing negativity outside of school or whether they hear something negative in school. Many times as adults, we don't even realize that we can't always control what's said to us, but we can always control how we react to it. And I think that was the big piece for Vicki that really resonated with those students. The impact of Hero, with the second time that Hero came into Milby, we're now beginning to see some individual impacts within our classrooms. We're seeing students that are taking some of those social skills, whether it be the helpful, the encouraging, the on time, the on task type behaviors. We're beginning to see some of those students display those activities within their classrooms. We're also hearing conversations begin to take place now between students, between teachers, concerning those Saturday events that we've hosted as of this point. And so I know it's making an impact, it's growing. I believe that our dynamic right now is that we really want to create leaders within our school community to make sure that this is an ongoing practice and something that we can sustain, that doesn't necessarily require us to have these outside influences on a regular basis, but we create our own leaders and our own trainers and have that something that is able to continue on a yearly basis. My preference, it would really be that this information was student-driven, that it was student-led. Just like those students responded positively to our speakers because they could relate to those stories, they will even be able to relate to a greater respect to their peers. So when their peers are able to deliver this type of information, I think it's even going to be more powerful. And then we know as teachers that the greatest way to learn something is to teach something. And so when you're delivering the information, when you're the instructor as a student, then they become more versed in what they're delivering as well. Hero is somewhat unique to our other ancillary programs in a sense that most of our other ancillary programs are clubs or organizations that give students an opportunity to be part of something. They don't necessarily address the social, emotional needs of our students as a whole. So there's not necessarily one standalone ancillary program that we offer as a school that's just a social, emotional, or a good citizenship, or a class that teaches these type of behaviors, these natural citizen, good, respectful type individual skills. I think it does stand alone, but I think it also complements those other ancillary programs, because just like in the educational classroom and the academic classroom, where we're missing some of those socio-emotional skills, this complements it. So although it is a standalone program, it is very different from our other ancillary programs, I think it complements each one of our programs. So Hero is a very complementary program to all of our ancillary programs, to all of our academics, in a sense that the Hero really fills in the gaps and dovetails along with what we currently have here at the school, and just giving us that extra social-emotional support, those extra life skills that our students are missing in so many other areas. Most of our coaches and teachers, they do a portion of that, but it's not a built-in piece of the curriculum that we already have. For anybody in another school or another district that might be interested in implementing something of this nature, I would definitely encourage you. I think that anytime that we can create these community partnerships, anytime that we can bring in parents and community members to the table to help our students be more socially adept, to being productive citizens, to being, it's going to lend itself to an increased success in every program, and especially in the academic realm for education. I think I was surprised the most by Hero just based on how our students responded to it. So I was very hesitant that we would have a lot of students that would tune out, that potentially could be discipline problems, that would see it somewhat as boring. And pleasantly surprised that was not the case. Our students were very engaged. They were answering questions, they were offering their own scenarios, they were telling their own life stories, and really making those connections. So we just did not have any discipline or off-task behavior to speak of.